And I'm gonna play down full pot. We flop an open ender and 2 overcards, and if those 2 guys fold, I win. And if somebody calls, I have great chance to win. And here you can see on full pot comes to me. I invested only 6 cents into that, and I'm just gonna win it. Welcome to an explanation of No Limit Unfold Holdem, where you play 2 games at the same time on Pokerstars. I think it's another mixed game that you can learn something from. I'm gonna get into what you're playing here on Stars. So you're playing 10 and 20 cents with an ante of 6 cents. And we're always playing some side games. Now here, this guy over here is from OP Poker. You can also find him on YouTube if you type in OP Poker. So already know each other a little bit. He has also been on my channel. If you check out my playlist, you can find how he taught me a little bit about, or quite a bit about, what was it, Power Up, the format on Pokerstars. And yeah, he's gonna be in the mix trying to figure out these mixed games as well. So you're basically playing regular No Limit Hold'em cash game, and then you're playing a side game with whoever did not see the flop. So there's going to be a game between the people who see a flop, which is the main pot. And there's going to be a side pot of the ante times the players on the table, which is the unfold pot, which is only contested by the people who folded before the flop. So you actually have to post 6 cents every hand here. That's what you invested. And you cannot win them back if you're actually a person who sees a flop. You can only win it back if you're not seeing a flop. So that makes the game, at least at first, somewhat interesting, because people are not going to figure out what that means. I think that it incentivizes playing hands. You have to play less hands because you always get a second chance if 2 other people see a flop, and if nobody sees a flop, you're gonna get your piece back anyway. At the same time, I'm gonna more or less open still some ranges to figure out, okay, whether I can still win the 30 cents with a 50 cents investment and just play more or less regular Hold'em, or how I would play. I'm gonna call the 3-bet here with the 9-8 suited, even though it's kind of shallow. Now I get to see out of the 5 players who wants to play for the side pot and how many, and he's going to see that as well. And you see that everyone basically misses except for one guy who could have, for example, flopped a flush. With 9-8 suited here, I think I'm going to have a call and play turn, so we got position. And we're going to see what we do on more streets. And I'm going to check it back, trying to win this at showdown. He has the ace 10 with the 10 of spades, and now only one player tried to win it. He flopped a pair and a gutter, I believe, and he won the unfold pot. Here we got 4-bet, which, yeah, seems a bit annoying. I'm gonna let it go. So yeah, I mean, some strategy is definitely formed here on the first days, and it might be an opportunity if people misplay it. I don't think, yeah, for example, the unfold pot is not raked. So the side game is, I'm not sure, is it rake free? Or maybe if 2 people invest, we're gonna see when 2 people unfold how much that means. I think it's slightly raked. But yeah, people can make massive mistakes in those side games. Or in that side game in particular. But sometimes it's probably better to play tighter range from every position, trying to play a side game and make good decisions. So if now 2 people see the flop here, we're gonna get to play side game. Most of the time you're not hitting anyway. You have to estimate how likely it is that you hit the flop the best out of the people remaining, of course. And then, yeah, basically make a pot size investment. It's, in my opinion, a pretty good exercise, since these kind of games get played in live poker. If you heard about bomb pots, for instance, you could learn something from this game for live poker. Because in live poker, the bomb pots work the following way. Everyone invests, antes up a certain amount, and you go directly to the flop. And when you do, you know, you have 100% ranges, right? You have any two cards, and then you have to estimate how good your hand is compared to everyone else, like in 8-9-handed. And people don't know that well, in especially in No Limit Hold'em, if they haven't played a lot of bomb pots. And here I'm just playing heads up against him, so I have a lot of incentives to actually invest here. Oh, I actually fucked it up. I think I should have invested here, because now I'm just getting back my share of this. Here I'll definitely have to unfold them. 5 when a flop top pair. Unfortunately, 2 other people contest. That means I might be in bad shape if they have me out kicked. I also have a backdoor flush draw, which I might win with, to make the hand a little bit better. And also, obviously, now I have pot odds. I invested, I think, 40-something cents, so I have to win 25% of the time to make this investment more or less positive, which I think is the case when you're four-handed to a 9-5 deuce flop, when you have top pair. I think when you have middle pair, for instance, it would be a little bit too risky. And when you have like a flush draw, then I think you should always try to go for it, because it's just too strong and will win the unfold pot a lot of the times. Now we're up against a flush draw and an open and a straight draw, and we win the pot and go here to $16 and turn a little bit of profit. So kind of funny format, because here I have to always be on your toes and then figure out, okay, here they're gonna see a flop, and he has actually some incentives to even be folding here, even though he gets a great price for the setup. But you know, he now 4-bets. It's obviously nice as well, because he can win everything. But you know, if they see a flop, we can unfold ours as 5, and we're gonna play for this. And I flopped 2 pair. Amazing flop, unless someone has 5-3 deuces or those 2 combinations of sets. I'm looking pretty good here. Now a straight is possible. Everyone unfolded, so I think I'm gonna lose this one. Somebody has a 5. No! So I just won everyone's unfold money in that side game. That's pretty nice, pretty nice. I actually like this game. I like more the unfold part of it, and people seem to be gambling quite a bit. I mean, if you're, I don't know if you can replay. Can you replay this? No. Seems like you can't. But yeah, you have a lot of incentives to see, to also know what ranges people are playing. If you know something about ranges and about, you know, what they see bet with, etc., you have some card removal knowledge. And I think there's an infinite amount you can learn in this game, how to get better. I think there's a big learning curve for sure. It's always good for a mixed game. I think if when you play it for long, even though maybe there's still a limited amount of interest in this game, it gets different. Here I'm actually on a 4-bet. This guy has been fairly aggressive. I think he plays on both tables, and he's been 4-betting me before. And I'm going to 4-bet call here with the pocket queens. Here I have top pair. Against a limper, I'm gonna lead out, and I'm gonna check call some of my queen X on the turn, especially the weakest one with the deuce kicker. I think I'm gonna get some value from 10 jack and some other combinations here that we're drawing. Again, anteing it up. So for me, it's always when these new games come out, what can I learn for my poker ability in general? It's not, I say, okay, I want to just play the stars game all the time, or that I'm going to be a rag in this. No, it's more about, yeah, what can I learn from this game? Can I, and here it's clearly you can form your intuition of, if you go to the flop with your folded range, like with anything that you didn't open. So instead of thinking in capped ranges, meaning, you know, what does a range look like when somebody doesn't open? Yeah, it's kind of the reverse. It's the folding range. It's not the open range. So it's a different form of cap. Yeah, it caps actually at the top because you did fold. So if I fold button versus cutoff here, I clearly don't have a hand like pocket nines or pocket jacks. That's like what people could say. So if somebody asks themselves, okay, what does it have me beat here? You would say, okay, it's definitely not nines, it's not jacks, it's not kings. It's probably not queen 10 suited, but it could be queen 10 offsuit. So you can combinatorically, the faster you are, you can deduce, okay, what people have. Here, he didn't 3-bet, so you can also deduce something, and he opened from the cutoff. Now I'm up against 3 people playing the side game, but I missed the flop completely, so I'm gonna pass. Here, this guy's king, queen off. No idea how so much money went in. It's obviously nice if you have a flush, you can always play the game because you're gonna have mostly the right amount of equity. Unless it's a very low flush and low flush draw and you're playing 6-way, then I think it could be sometimes minus EV to play. Also, sometimes you're gonna play with less money. Sure, you can add some chips, which I don't want to do here. I want to actually know how much I want. Now, it's interesting. 5 people, 5 opponents. If multiple players unfold, 2 people unfold, so that I think that leaves me with the impression that I should I go more polar? I think so, and I think he's gonna be having less 2 pairs when 2 people hit, whereas when one person hits the flop. I see what they have. I think some 8x, some ace-x, and some flush draws are quite valuable. We have an ace-x and an ace-x, so yeah, he was actually drawing to something, might be an open-ender, and he was priced out on the turn. But yeah, I think 2 pairs are just much less likely. So one guy wants the pot, and he's gonna get it because it's the only one that unfolded. The thing is, in the small blind, you actually have some incentives to fold as well, because you would get your unfold pot back. And because you have a disadvantage in the small blind, I think even folding quite a decent hand. Mid pair, I think here's close. I'm gonna pass it. It's pretty tight. I think there's some 6-4, 6-5 in there that have me quite crushed. 3-4 is a gut shot, and a pair, which I think is too strong. I'm gonna play 3-way. I think 25% of equity on average in a 3-way situation is given there's a pot. Let's see what they have. They might have all the straight draws. I've only 16% since he has a pair and a flush draw, which is quite brutal. And yeah, lose that one, I think. Or split it or something. Queen 6, fold. So yeah, when somebody opens, I think you have incentives. Yeah, clear spot to try and win it. Queen eye flush draw, I think, is good enough. Obviously, when everyone passes, I win it right away, which is quite a decent chance. If nobody has an ace, I think you win it more often than not, because I think middle pair is marginal and they have any 2 ranges. Here, I'm going to obviously fold. Marginal defense get devalued quite a bit in this format as well. 8-5 here is no good, I think, against 4 opponents. That's basically the things that you can think about here, and I have to say I like it. It's a different skill set that you need, as I just described in those 10-15 minutes, and let's see what happens. We win the side, we win the unfold pot, easy game. As we flop another great hand, pair and flush draw, and we don't even have to wait for the money, it's just gonna come our way because nobody hit as big. And yeah, people are just gonna make some mistakes. They're gonna invest in those side pot games quite terribly, and I think it's going to be a game, especially at these stakes, where you can potentially even build a bankroll if you're playing correctly and following the advice that I've just given you. So I am summing it up for you again. Play a little bit tighter, since you already invested something into this hand, and you can only get your investment back by making another investment in case you hit the flop. Here, same story. If I'm going to play against 3 people potentially, and if I flop top pair here, I'm going to invest, right? So I don't want to see a flop. I rather want to play the side pot game with these dudes. And here you can see that, look at this, everyone passes on check 10-5. sometimes ask myself what they pass with. That would be even more interesting, because then you would see, okay, your strategy would also change quite a bit. So ask yourself, what do you want to play for? Do you want to play for the main pot, for the blinds, because you got a great hand and you're probably going to make some money? Or do you have 2 other people playing for the main pot, or even 3 people playing it? When there are 3 people playing, you have even more incentives to not play. When there are 4 people playing, even more, because you're just going to have one opponent potentially. And if you have a hand like 8-6 suited, why would you play for the main pot when you can play heads up for the unfold pot? I have a great chance to flop a pair and then go with it heads up, or even a gut shot and then potentially win it. That is, in my opinion, a much better deal than playing for the main pot with a weak suited connector 4-way. So another principle is, when there's multiple players in the pot, you get disincentivized to play with them. For example, here, it would be absolutely atrocious to call, since I'm going to play against few people, and I'm gonna play down full pot. We flop an open ender and 2 overcards, and if those 2 guys fold, I win, and if somebody calls, I have great chance to win. And here you can see on full pot comes to me, I invested only 6 cents into that, and I'm just gonna win it because those 2 guys missed. And rather than playing the main pot with those folds, I just fold and play the side pot. So heads up pots is what is played here for the main. You shouldn't neglect it completely. Sometimes you can stack someone, but then playing the side pot right is going to be quite awesome, and it's going to make you some money. I hope that you guys enjoy mixed games as much as I do, and if you did get some value, don't forget to leave me a thumb up down here. That would be much appreciated. And if you want to know more about mixed games coming up in the future on Pokerstars or any other site, subscribe to this channel, because there's going to be new videos coming up whenever there's something new to learn about new poker variants, such as 6+ Holdem. You can find it on my poker channel if you subscribe and click through my playlists. Thanks for watching today, and see you for the next one.